Psalm 24, a psalm of David. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessing from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. He sees the King of glory. He sees the King of glory.
So, we have explored the possible links of the wise men's story to Africa. But what are the actual African Christian roots? Well, immediately after the departure of the wise men, the story of Christianity in Africa officially begins. But often, these beginnings are overlooked.
The Gospel according to St. Matthew. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying,
Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son.
To appreciate the flight into Egypt, we will need to first 1. Analyse the story to obtain the facts as it is found in the Bible, in tradition and historically. 2. Assess the story's importance and its relevance in the story and life of Yahshuah. 3. Highlight the story's specific significance to Africa, the Hebrews, and the biblical tradition. And finally, 4. Examine the story's particular significance to and influence upon Africa and African Christianity.
So, what do we know and understand about the story of the Holy Family's journey to Egypt? How do we relate this to African Christianity, to Christ, or Christianity generally? Well, unfortunately, most people do not realize the significance of this visit to Africa, although it is corroborated in the Bible, in tradition, and historically. In fact, most Christians, including many Africans who are Christians themselves, place little value or significance on this event within their Christian faith. Nevertheless, unbeknown to most, this visit to Africa, Egypt, by the Holy Family has been a key foundation and theme upon which African Christianity is built. But what are these foundations? To find out, we must first make an analysis of this Bible story to discover the facts and their significance. So, let us begin by examining this visit to find out 1. Why did they visit and stay in Africa? 2. When and how did they travel there? 3. The time it would have taken them. 4. Where did they stay? 5. How long did they stay for? And 6. The significance of this visit to Africa. Okay, now that we have our questions and a framework for this analysis, come let us find out what the Bible teaches us about this story, the corresponding facts, and their particular significance. So question number 1. What was the reason the Bible tells us that they visited Africa? Well, the Bible says it was specifically to escape Judea, to save Yahshuah's life after Herod had ordered to kill all children under 2 years old, known in the Christian tradition as the massacre of the innocent. Therefore, the facts are that Egypt, Africa, was the place of refuge that protected Yahshuah and the Holy Family. And the significance of this is that Egypt, Africa, had also been a place of refuge for other Bible personalities. And now question number 2. What about the journey? When and how did they travel? Now the Bible tells us that it was immediately after the wise men had departed. It was at night and they were traveling on foot. The fact is therefore that they left in haste, traveling along possibly well-established routes. And the significance of this is that many other Israelites had made this exact same journey in the past. And question number 3. How long would it have taken them? Now luckily, both the city of Bethlehem and the country of Egypt still exist in our modern times, so we can quite accurately measure the distance and duration of this journey, which is approximately 350 kilometers depending on the exact route they would have taken, and it would have taken them approximately 2 weeks. This means that the facts are that they would have needed supplies and would have stopped along the way. And the significance of this is that Yahshuah was still a baby, so would have needed to have been carried by his mother on a donkey along with the needed supplies. Now question number 4. What about where they would have stayed after they had escaped Judea and reached Egypt? Now, as the Bible tells us that they were in exile and in hiding, we would therefore expect that they would have moved a lot, not staying in one place for too long. This being the fact, we can therefore assume also that they already had people in Egypt to look after them when they had arrived. And the significance of this is that they must have had family or friends to greet and house them, but they would have had also the gifts from the wise men to help fund their keep. And question number 5. So how long did they stay and live in Africa for? Well, the Bible tells us that it was until Herod had died in about 4 BC, approximately 3 to 4 years later. This being the case, then the fact is that over this possible 3 to 4 year period, they would have been constantly moving and would have stayed with many people and have visited many places. And the significance of this is that they must have therefore had a good network of people throughout the land of Egypt. And finally, question number 6. What about the significance of this flight and visit to Africa? What is its relevance in our modern Christian tradition? Well, the Bible teaches us that outside of Israel, Christ only visits and walks in Africa. This being so, then the fact is that this refuge in Egypt should make Africa a sacred place to all Christians. And the significance of this is that, although this may not be the case, it should still be known and understood by all Christians that the route they took and the places they stayed have always been and remain today sacred places still celebrated in African Christianity.